Tariffs on China break Amazon's monopoly. What? Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today, we're coming to the end of some fireside. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking space, SpaceX, Starlink, Linux, all kinds of good stuff. Today is going to be none of the above. And I encourage you not to watch this video. This is going to be a completely different video from the norm. I've been getting a lot of questions about my stance on Jeff Bezos and Amazon and why am I just not a fan when I speak about them with Project Kuiper and all the rest of this stuff. And I promised you guys that I would do a video about this and tell you why. And I'm going to get into it a little bit with you. I would say skim the top of it just so you get an understanding. But what was the catalyst for doing this is I was listening to, I think it was CNBC or Fox or someone, and Kevin O'Leary came on, Mr. Wonderful, as he's called, right? He came on and he said this. He said 104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating for 400%. I do business with China. They do not play by the rules. They have been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in. They cheat. They steal. They steal IP. If you don't know, IP is intellectual property. Okay. So I'm an inventor, entrepreneur. I've invented a lot of products over the years, so I deal with IP or intellectual property on a regular basis. As an inventor, I'm getting my products patented and all the rest of the stuff, and then selling them. I've been selling my products on B&H Photo and Video and Amazon for over a decade, probably 15 plus years, a long time, all over the place on my website. So I pretty much understand IP. I've dealt with IP. I've been sued due to IP. I'll get into that in a minute. So when I was listening to this, I was, thinking about it, and there was a lot of backlash on that. How are you going to do 400%? I mean, as it is, we saw that Trump ended up going for 25, 50. I don't know. They went to 104%. I think now he's at 145% tariff on China, something like that. It is probably going to go up. It'll probably go up. And like Mr. Wonderful said, 400 is a good number. And I have to agree with that. But a lot of people just don't get it. And they don't understand how this could actually benefit us. Now, the whole thought process here is not just China, but also Amazon. And I will show you how they correlate in a minute. Okay, just hang tight. How they actually are one and the same, which is sad, but it is the case. Now, like I said, this might not be for everyone to watch. It is my story. It's real world. It's not stuff that I read or I guess or I just think or I believe. It's just facts, right? On things that have happened to me and the reason why I say and do as I say. And then also why I agree 100% here with these just absolutely absorbent just tariffs on China. How they will just fix a lot of things. One of the things, like I said at the beginning, is the monopoly that there is with Amazon. The FTC knows it, DOJ, there's a lot of three-letter organizations that currently have lawsuits filed against Amazon as we speak. Okay. So this is nothing new, and a lot of you guys understand it. You probably know it. And some of the things that I'm going to tell you today, you probably have recognized yourself, but you just didn't stop to see it for really what it was or what it is. So let me start out by saying my story is one, once again, of an entrepreneur and an inventor. I created products. I created the focus pyramid, autofocus lens calibration tool, Aurora camera care products, all of the lens cleaning stuff and sensor cleaning stuff, PRTs, which is the photo reference tool. There's just a ton of different products I've created over the years, once again, for photo and video. That's just been my thing. Well, what ends up happening is that the Chinese get the product, reverse engineer it, and then sell it cheaper. Now, this has happened to me. O'Leary over there, it's happened to him over and over. And that's one of the reasons why he says what he says. He's literally said he's lost hundreds of millions of dollars due to IP that has been stolen from him for all of the things that he has been making. And then then they come out at about half price. And now that product is dead. And he cannot sue, all right, to go after them, because you can't sue a company in the CCP and the Chinese Communist Party because you'll get nowhere. And he knows that. He recognizes that. And that's why he said the tariffs is a really good way to go to mitigate this. Now, these products I sold, perfect example is the focus pyramid, autofocus lens calibration tool. I made that about 15 years ago or so. And within the first maybe 9 months of selling it was doing really well, sold a lot of them. It was a niche, but it was a product that the industry really needed. There was only a couple like it, but the ones that were like it were really expensive, and mine was a lot cheaper, and it just simply worked, okay? Well, a company in China bought my product, reverse engineered it, and came up with another one that looks a little bit different, but all of the angles and the charts and everything about it is identical. All of the work that I put into it, the patenting, all the rest of the stuff, basically meant nothing. Because now all of a sudden they had a product that looked like mine or looked slightly different, but did the same thing as mine using all of my techniques for $8 instead of $24.99. 300% less. So is anyone going to buy mine over theirs? No. When you confront Amazon with this and you say, listen, this is my product, this is my idea, this is exactly it. I have the intellectual property I own, I have the patent for this. Amazon basically says to pound sand because they really don't care about US sellers. They don't care if the seller is in Timbuktu somewhere, as long as they get their revenue, they get their fees, they're okay. Now, what these companies do is not only do they steal the intellectual property, but then what they do is they flood Amazon. Now, this is a tactic or a technique they've been doing for over a decade. Now, the company that copycatted my product, for example, or many other products, not just mine, we're using mine for an example, they would create like 10 shell companies, different names, legitimate companies, quote unquote, in like 10 minutes. And then since Amazon really doesn't scrutinize these very well, they have these 10 companies selling the exact same product. Now, how do we know it's the exact same product? Well, I'll tell you that in just a second. What ends up happening is it floods the first page. So they have all 10 of them, and then mine underneath that, probably on page 2 or possibly page 3. Number one, because the damn thing is $24.99 compared to $8. Okay, that's number one. But also they end up getting better ratings than I do. How does that happen? Is because they buy them. Now, I can go through a whole video on how they do that, but they'll literally contact me, for example, and they'll say, hey, we'll give you $125. The product is $75. You buy the product from Amazon, you keep the $50, and you do a good review. That's how it works. And they do this forever. They do this continuously. That's why a lot of the products that you see on Amazon, you'll get them. You're like, man, this is a piece of shit. They got all these great reviews. I don't get it. Well, chances are they were fake reviews. That's how they work it. Now, so we have all of those flooding me out, right? That's basically how they work. Now, the way Amazon works here is if you contacted them and say, hey, listen, this is my IP, I'm just completely out of the mix here. I can't even sell my product anymore, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, like I said before, they don't care. But what they will do is they will refer you to another department, the sales department. And they'll say, Mr. Christina, we got your back here. We got you. We're going to take care of you. We're going to give you the ability to buy an advertisement for your product that will put you above everyone else. Wow. Thank you. So now my product is being sold 300% cheaper than how much I can actually sell it for. And I will have to pay Amazon so that my listing is above their listings. I like that. I think that's fair, don't you? But wait, there's something else that you can do. We will allow you to buy a coupon that you can give to our people that are shopping on Amazon as a discount. And since you're going to give them that discount, we're going to put you at the top also. So either you could pay for an advertising or you can give your product away cheaper by giving a coupon out that we're going to allow you to do. Thank you. Thank you. To get you to the top so you can possibly sell your product, which you can't anyways because it's 3 times more expensive than the Chinese. And there's 10 of them. And what do? One is like $8, one is $8.25, one is $9, one is $7.70. And they know the $7.70 is one that's going to sell all the time, but it doesn't matter because they're trying to flood the first page, and that's what they do. So, does Amazon do anything about it? No, they don't. Do they know that that's a problem? Yes, they do. They absolutely 100% do. Now, to show you evidence of this, and I'm sure you've seen this before, to make it very, very plain, not just my product, but stuff that you've seen over there on Amazon, right? Have you ever went and tried buying a piece of, I don't know, electronic or a shirt or maybe a pair of shoes or something, and you look at the shoe and you're like, yeah, I really like this shoe. And then you go down, there's a similar shoe, and you look at it like, oh, that's a little bit cheaper. And you go and take a look, and you look at the next shoe and the next shoe. Wow, okay, they're kind of similar. Different prices, right? Different company names too, right? It's the same damn shoe. Why is that? Because they're flooding the shoe area with that shoe. How do you know it? Because when you go into the ad, when you go into the product and you research it, you see that they didn't even take the time to take another photo. It's the same damn shoe. Maybe if they really want to push it, they'll use Photoshop and change the color. But it's the same damn shoe, the same angle, the same sole, it's the same shoe. And then to add insult to injury, the text, the description is the same on all of them. They don't even take the time to change it. Why? Because Amazon doesn't give a shit. You will look at the description and you'll see the same misspelled word because they don't know how to spell. They don't even run the thing through spell check. The same misspelled word on every single shoe. Tell me you guys haven't seen that. Maybe not shoes, maybe it's a piece of electronics, maybe whatever it is. Maybe the casing changed. One is blue, one is red. You know it's the exact same thing inside. The exact same thing. Different prices, different companies. It's not different companies, people. It's the same company with all of these shell companies that are actually doing the sales. And when one of these shell companies ends up with a bad rating, they shut it down and they make 2 more. And Amazon doesn't care. Once again, it's ones and zeros. The bottom line is just the numbers, and they don't care about us in the US. They only care about their bottom line, and that is it. That is it. So China gets away with all of this, and they do this all the time. Now, a little bit more real world, okay? I know this is going to be lengthy. You guys could just turn it off anytime you want, but this is just stuff that I want to let you guys know of because it's my story. It's what you wanted to know, and that's what I'm telling you. There was a time when I wanted to make a mold for the focus pyramid, autofocus lens calibration tool, and a mold to have a mold tooled. It's made out of steel, and they weigh like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Okay, injection mold stuff. Well, I did some research, and I found that in China, I can have a mold done, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, God, I've heard down the grapevine that if you have a mold done in China, someone is going to accidentally lose the mold or steal the mold, and then there'll be duplicates of that everywhere, and then they'll sell your product as another product, but it's your own mold. And Mr. Wonderful has had this happen to him also in the past. Anyways, so I said, I know this is happening. Maybe what I'll do is I'll cut the mold in 3 pieces and I'll assemble in the US. That might be an answer. I was thinking about it. I'm like, that's a lot of work. Let me find a mold tooler, someone that tools molds here in the US, and I'll have my mold created here instead of having to go into China to do it, right? China. So I contacted 4 different companies here, and guess what? After research, come to find out, every single one of them has the tinkering and tooling done in the US, and then the mold is made in where? So at that point, even though I had the mold made here, if I didn't dig in deep, I wouldn't even knew that they didn't make the mold here, and they ended up making in China, and now China still has a copy of my mold, my intellectual property. They don't even have to tool it. It's there for them. The schematic is there. It's all there. All the data, the 3D CAD representations of it. They have to do nothing besides just tinker with it a little bit and make a duplicate, a copy, and sell it with like 10 different names under 10 different companies. So I'll give you another little thing that you just, people are always like, why do you think that these people are bad? So why are they evil? I'll give you another example. I'll go back to the focus pyramid because we've been talking about focus pyramid. So Amazon reached out to me at one time and said, listen, we want you to sell in the EU. You're already selling in Canada, Mexico, whatever. We want you to sell also in the EU. That's all you have to do is send your product into the EU. I think it was in Great Britain. And then we will fire it off to Italy and to Germany and to everywhere in the EU. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. Do I really need to sell into the EU? I mean, the US is a big enough market. I don't really need to do that. Eventually, they just kept going on and on and on. I said, okay, what do I need to do? Is there something specific? No, Joseph, you don't have to do nothing. Send us the product to this address in the EU and I guess it was in Great Britain, and we will do the rest. Okay, fine. So I sent them 300 pieces, thousands of dollars of the focus pyramid. And within a month, I'm like, why is my product not, I figured it'd take some time, it's overseas. I contact them. Why is my product, well, it's not because we need a VAT number. I mean, what? Oh yeah, we need a VAT number or we can't sell your product in the EU. I'm like, can you give me a manager? You guys didn't tell me this. You've been courting me for the last 3 months to sell this stuff in the EU, which I didn't want to do. And now that I am, now you want something else? Yep, you have to have a VAT number. I went and I spent weeks, guys, weeks calling one to another. Yes, Mr. Joseph. Yes, Mr. Joseph. That's all I get. Yes, Mr. Joseph. I'm talking to someone in Dubai or in India somewhere. Yes, Mr. Joseph, we're going to do everything No, you're not doing everything. Okay. They don't do anything is what they do. They are there just to stroke something. Ego. Let's just say that. Stroke. That's what they're there for. And after literally 2, maybe 3 months of going back and forth, it literally took that long. 2 or 3 months of going back and forth from one manager, another manager, just endless. They end up telling me that I have to have a VAT number to sell in the EU or any of the countries there. And that to have the VAT number, not only do I have to purchase it and get the VAT number, but I also have to have a VAT representative in that country that will file and pay my VAT, my value-added tax for selling into those countries. Pay that. Even though Amazon is actually selling it for me, I'm not really selling it. It's not like it's a direct sell for me. Like the product's being listed at Amazon and then I am fulfilling it. I am direct fulfilling it here from the US. No. Amazon is fulfilling it in an Amazon location, in a hub out of the UK somewhere. They should be collecting the tax, not me, and giving it to whatever government that they're doing. No. I have to have a VAT number, and I have to collect taxes, and I have to have a specific individual that I'm going to probably pay $1,000+ per year just to have the VAT in this individual to do this work for me. More money than I'll probably even make with the damn product over there. I said, you know what, guys? I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting a VAT. I'm not having a VAT representative. I'm not collecting the damn taxes over there. I'm not selling into your countries. Send me my product back. Another month or two went back and forth. No product came back. Finally, I got through to a manager that didn't Mr. Joseph me. That was actually like a manager. I don't even know. They said, well, Mr. Christina, sadly, we cannot send you your product back. Unless what? Unless you have a VAT. I tell them, listen, I don't have a VAT. I don't want a VAT. I just want my product back. You guys courted me for 3 months to get the product over there in the EU, in Great Britain. I want it back. I don't want to sell it. I haven't sold a single one over there. I'm not going to sell any. I just want you. No, Miss Christina, we can't. You have to have a VAT number or we cannot send your product back. Are you freaking kidding me? They're not kidding. This is a true story. I mean, you can't even make like this up, can you? You can't make this kind of shit up. So to this day, I've never gotten those 300 focus pyramids back. I don't know if they just incinerated them, destroyed them, landfilled them. I don't know. Never got them back because I refused to get a value added tax number and an individual to collect that value added tax. This is how they work. This is how they work. It's like the mob. And that's why I say it's a monopoly. It is a monopoly. And that's why the FTC says in their filing that it is a monopoly. So you got to understand, the reason they hold all the cards is because they own the marketplace. They have control of the shipping. They have control over the advertising. They have control over the payments. They have control over the algorithm. Everything. 100%. Everything. So, for example, when it comes to the algorithm, I had some of you guys reach out to me, I think it was last year, and said, hey, Joe, listen, we want to buy some more of those focus pyramids because we have this educational thing going on and we want to pick up about 20 of them. So we went over to Amazon to buy them, but they don't exist anymore. We can't find them. I'm like, what? How is that even possible? I know I have over 200 of them in stock with Amazon. How are they not there? So he said, yeah, Joseph, we went and we typed in focus pyramid, autofocus lens calibration tool, the whole name. I said, it's not possible. It's not possible. So then I went and looked. I typed in the full name and sure damn enough, doesn't exist. Does not exist. All of these copycats and all the rest of this stuff and all of these ads and all the rest, it's all in a row. First page, second page. The focus pyramid was on the third page. The third page. Even though I typed in and they typed in the exact product name, focus pyramid, autofocus lens calibration tool. There's no question about that. I mean, that's as specific. It's like what? 8 words or so. I mean, there's no way to get around that. But sure damn enough, I was on page 3. So I call them up and I'm like, what is going on? Like, oh, well, you know, these other ones have like a better rating and they're cheaper. And basically, what did they do? They just gave me the shaft. Okay. I ended up talking to a manager that day. And by the time I got off the phone with them, they ended up putting it back to the top. So if someone was to actually search for focus pyramid autofocus lens calibration tool, it would pop up at the top, below all of Amazon's ads and below the competitors' ads too, because I wasn't paying. But at least I was on page 1, towards the bottom, but on page 1. Okay. So this is the kind of stuff that they do. Once again, it is a monopoly and they don't care about us in the US. Now, the reason I understand IP, intellectual property, not just because I develop my own products, I patent my own products and everything else, is because I personally was sued for IP infringement. This was many years ago. I ended up winning, but it took 4 years to win. 4 years and a lot of money. Just so you guys know, IP attorneys, intellectual property attorneys run from about $250 to about $500+ per hour. I had 2 attorneys in Florida, 1 attorney in Texas, and 1 in California. 4 years, guys. 4 years. To win. But do you really win after that? Not really. So I understand IP. And when I heard, Kevin O'Leary talk about IP and how he was stolen from and he's lost millions and millions and millions and all this stuff, it kind of hits a nerve. And when you guys ask me, why am I the way I am with Jeff Bozo over there, this is kind of why. Because of the unfair trade practices that go on. And the FTC know it, DOJ, they all know it. And they are kind of fighting. But what people don't understand with these IP attorneys, and like I said before, they're not there to win, they're there to stall. And they're getting paid just an ass load of money to do it. The thing is they're on retainer in comparison to someone else is actually paying for it. At least with the government, who's the government? We are the government. We pay to sue Amazon with these class actions or with any of these type of cases, right? Them going after them right now for monopolistic reasons and all the rest of the stuff. We, the people, are suing them. But they know how to just drag stuff on, right? Even though I had all of these attorneys, what ended up happening is I had to do a lot pro se. And the reason being is I didn't have all that money to be able to continuously pay in perpetuity. So pro se was how it was. And I ended up writing a lot of these motions myself, or at least was a big part of them, so that the attorneys didn't have to do as much. Once again, the hourly was insane. So I learned a lot in those 4 years. I know more than what I should know or like to know. But we went against 2 lawyers. One, of course, was that Harvard grad, and the other one was Stanford. And the 2 lawyers here were Florida lawyers, let's call them. And then a Texas good old boy, and of course, a good old boy from California. But still, we ended up winning because we, of course, were right. But it doesn't matter who's right in the court of law. And if anyone thinks that, you're freaking delusional. It's who has more money and who has a better attorney. That is simply it. And if you don't believe that, once again, you need to. Because if you don't, you're delusional. That is who wins when it comes to a court of law in the U.S. That is it. The most money and the best attorneys. That's all it is. I remember one of my lawyers, I don't remember which one, told me one time, he said, you know what, Joe, I was just bitching. I'm like, how can they sue me? I'm right. I never did this, but they're telling me that I did, and there's no evidence thereof. It doesn't matter. He said, Joe, you can sue a ham sandwich. That stuck with me. You can sue a ham sandwich, meaning that it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. You could sue a ham sandwich. It doesn't make a difference. And it's sad. It is really sad, but that's for a whole nother video. Now, how will tariffs help? How will it help, number one, with the Chinese, China, doing all the copycat stuff that they've been doing for decades, number one, and how will it break the monopoly of Amazon? Pretty good question, right? So number one, Amazon has what they call their Amazon Essentials, Amazon Basics. What are those? Those are basically companies that they either bought or a product that they like, and then they had it manufactured specifically for them and rebrand them with their label on it. That's all that it is. And 90+% of all of those products are from China. Facts. Okay? So that's their private label, let's call it, right? And it's almost always the cheapest. Since it's the cheapest and it is their private label, when you do a search on Amazon, not only do you get the flooding of all the Chinese, but then above that, you get all of the Amazon stuff because they push their own product over others. They were sued for that too. That's another lawsuit, I think 2023 or 2021. Anyways, they were sued for that too because they were pushing their own product. The other thing is that Amazon no longer would be able to get rich at the expense of the US sellers. Why do I say that? Because now all of a sudden they cannot sell their Amazon Essentials and their Basics. Why? Well, because if they have a basic product coming in and the cost of that basic product is $10, let's just call it $10. And now there's 145% tariff on it. Now all of a sudden the $10 turns to $24.50. They can't sell it for $24.50 because I'm making it for $20. Whereas before it was being sold for $10. I was completely blown out of the market because Amazon is underselling me. So all of a sudden the US seller will be able to fulfill those orders at $20 and make some money again, right? Could you imagine that? The Chinese companies will also get hit hard because now the Chinese companies that are flooding that page one won't be there anymore. Because the product, once again, let's say if we use the $10, is now coming in at $24.50, they can't sell it. They can't even bring it in. I just heard yesterday that, I think it was yesterday, day before, I think it was yesterday, that Amazon just chopped a whole ton of Chinese orders, right? They just cut them off completely. That's it. They're not buying it. They're not bringing it into the US because they can't afford to pay the 145% tariff. They're hoping that the tariffs will be reduced and then they don't have to pay as much. But they can hope in one hand and take a crap in the other, and those tariffs are probably going to be there for a bit. Because I know the Chinese aren't backing down anytime soon, and I know Trump ain't backing down anytime soon either, even though in the news they're like, oh, he caved. Did he really? Did he? 10% for everybody? 145 for China. Wasn't China the goal from the beginning? Did people forget that China was the goal? Remember the Mexico and Canada and back and forth, right? Remember? This doesn't take like an Elon rocket scientist for, right? The goal was China. Now the world is against China. Isn't that the goal? Anyways, that's for a whole nother video. The bottom line here is that now we see China's going to have a hard time selling their product because they can't get it into the US at an amount that can actually be sellable. And now Amazon is going to have to push the US company, the guy that sells the product for $20, because if not, they're not going to make nothing. No fees. They live on fees. Fees on this, fees on that, percentage on that, percentage of this. Sell ads, coupons. I'll let you buy a coupon. It's like the Don, right? It's the Don from the damn mob. So maybe what can also possibly happen, which would be good with these tariffs, maybe even 400% tariff, is now all of a sudden Amazon Basics and Amazon Essentials, maybe they'll make them in the US. Or maybe they'll just have to find them in another country. But either way, it's not going to be China anymore. It would be nice if they actually made them in the US. I don't know. Who knows? I don't think they're very patriotic, to be honest with you. So I don't think they'll probably make them in the US. They'll find them elsewhere cheaper. Because that's what they do. It's all about the money. $2 trillion market cap. People, $2 trillion. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. So, anyways, I want to know if anyone has experienced anything like what I've been talking about. I mean, anything, right? Down below, let's just have a conversation. Okay, we know that this is absolutely the case. This is not something that's even, yay or nay. This happens or not happen. It does happen, okay? I know because I've experienced it. I've actually walked the walk. I didn't just learn about it or I feel a certain way. No, I actually walked it. So I know this is the case, but I want to know if other people have had experiences like this. Even if you don't sell on Amazon, have you bought like a product, whatever it is? I don't know, maybe this thing here. Do you love this thing? This is cool, right? Look. Have you bought a product like on Amazon? You look at it, you're like, there's 5 of the same product and they're all different prices and they're all from different companies. But this little area here, instead of being blue, it's pink. The other one is green, right? Or the shape of it now is like a heart instead of this. Even though if you crack it open, it's the exact same damn thing. Anyone have that experience? Anyone look at those shoes and it's the same damn shoe? And how many people have actually seen it where they've actually seen from ad to ad, even though they're supposed to be different products, they have the same misspelled word? The same photos. I mean, it is comical and it's disgusting at the same time. And for me, seeing what Kevin O'Leary is saying over there, Mr. Wonderful and his 400%, I would say 110%. I would give them the 400% tariffs going forward, and I would not let up on that for at least 6 months to a year. And the thing is people are going to absolutely suffer because the folks here in the US are very spoiled and they want cheap crap that they can buy and throw in the garbage, and they can buy and they can throw in the garbage. EU is like that too, but they're less like that than the US. We here in the US are very much so a society that is the throwaway society. We want what we want it when we want it, and we want it at a really cheap price. We want it for free. That's just how it is. And then we throw it away and we buy another one. We throw it away and we buy another one because it's all junk, right? So there's going to be a lot of pain because it's going to take a while for people to be able to say, hey, the batteries were $10, now they're $20. Yeah, because they're now made in the US and they're going to be more expensive. Maybe it's time to buy a rechargeable battery and recharge it over and over and over for a year and spend 30 instead of 20. And now have the same battery for a year that you can constantly charge. there's certain things that you can do, okay? As it is now, we're looking at eggs at $12 for a dozen with $1 an egg. So, it can only get so bad. But when it comes to these products, this is the way it is. We're going to have to suffer. Once again, you got to pull that Band-Aid off really quickly, experience the pain really fast, and then hopefully then it will heal. Because if we don't pull the Band-Aid off, we just constantly just slightly rip it, never pull it off, it's never going to heal. All right? It needs to come off. And I think the 400% is a great way to pull that damn Band-Aid off. What say you? What do you think? Down below. I want to hear from you. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to. If not, I understand. Click this notification button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you want to support me and the channel, there's a little thank you button down here. You can click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, it's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And check out my website over at JCristina.com. I have a bunch of merch over there. I got tees and shirts and books and all kinds of other stuff. If there's something there you like, pick it up. Help support me and my family instead of going to Amazon. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next one. Love you guys.